Welcome to the Driver's Line. I'm Greg.
And I'm Jordan.
And today, we're continuing our naughty or nice conversation, but this time...
Yeah, we're heading over to the East, so Japan and Korea.
Yes, so we wanted to, break down our naughty and nice list by region, so we're continuing that with you guys today. And we're going to go ahead and start with Japan. So, my first choice on my nice list, who's going to be getting a wonderful present this year, is going to be Toyota.
Okay.
With their new Prius.
Why is that?
Because it's the Motor Trade car of the year.
Well,
that's not the only reason.
I agree with you.
This is the first Prius that actually looks good.
Yeah.
Physically, I understand, looks aren't everything. But this is the first Prius that you're actually going to look at and be like, hey, that's an attractive car. They took a lot of, notes out of, I think, you see a little bit of Tesla Model 3 in there. You see some other folks in there too. But it is a car that looks good. And it looks so good that the folks at Honda copied it for their Prelude concept.
That's so true. I mean, it's almost an identical front end.
Yes. But, that notwithstanding, you actually get a little bit more performance out of your Prius now. So the Prius actually is up to, I think, like 180 horsepower, right? And I think nearly 200 with all-wheel drive.
Yeah.
And just not a bad performer now. It's something that can sneak up on cars, especially at a stoplight, when it uses that hybrid power to get off the line. And our friends at Everyday Driver actually put some good tires on one, and they compared it to a GTI of all things.
Yeah. I actually put this on my nice list too for Japan because, it really just changed the market. When it comes out, it's like, wow, this is actually attractive.
Right.
And I could potentially see myself driving it. So, and I think that's ultimately where we want to move as a society is, some people don't necessarily need to burn gasoline on their way to work, or at least be a little more efficient doing it. So if we can make that an attractive choice to people, maybe we could save some gas for the folks of us who like to burn it at the track.
Yes, we like to burn it at the track, so please save a little bit for us. But, the Prius Prime, it's plug-in hybrid, right? Yep. So you can actually take that. As long as you don't have a long commute, you can commute purely on electric power.
Yeah, so I think the fact that, it was an interesting direction that Toyota went with the Prius because, it's just as efficient. We're not really seeing any huge efficiency gains necessarily. It's the performance that we're seeing and the styling, which I think is a really interesting choice that they made.
Exactly. So, it's kind of interesting because previously it was so focused on looking unique and miles per gallon. Right? So that was really the focus. And so now they've kind of pivoted and be like, hey, maybe we can draw in some new folks into the Prius crowd.
There you go.
By making it look attractive and, putting a little performance in there too.
Hey, so well done, Toyota. No coal for you this time. Right. Another choice that I had for our good list, shifting out of the Prius, would be still staying in the Toyota camp. Yeah. And it's the choice that I think I didn't actually see myself coming to until I realized they are actually making a performance hot hatch. And that's the Toyota GR Corolla, right? So we're seeing an insane engine, a turbocharged three-cylinder, 1.6, but it's putting out 300 horsepower.
Just a warty little thing, 100 horsepower per cylinder.
It's crazy.
Which is nuts to think about.
Yeah. So it's the most powerful three-cylinder ever.
And it looks like a homologated rally car. It's got the fender flares, got almost like boxed fenders on the back of it.
Yeah.
And just is one of the most unique looking things coming down the road. And it's just a Corolla at its heart.
Yeah. So, Toyota's been lambasted, right, for being so boring, so plain. And I think the direction that they're going here, all these performance offerings that they've been coming out with.
Yep. Supra, 86.
Yeah.
Just Corolla.
Yeah. And Yaris overseas. Unfortunately, we don't get that one. But, it's a fantastic entry. And it has such a, maniacal character to it that, when you look at other cars in its segment, GTI, that just continue to get more, further away from their roots.
Yeah, they're a little bit more sedate.
Yeah.
This thing is just a yabo.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, keep it crazy, Toyota. We love it.
I know. You got to give Toyota kudos just for the whole direction they're going in right now, and we just love it. So, keep it up, guys. Yeah. More presents coming your way.
There you go.
So, another brand that has started doing some interesting things, and I'm going to see if you can go ahead and pick this from what I'm saying.
Okay.
But it's Japanese, obviously. Straight six.
Okay.
SUV.
Mazda.
CX-90.
Yes. Yeah.
You get a turbocharged straight six, something you would expect to find in a BMW. You're finding it in a Mazda now. Rear-wheel drive based. So you can obviously still get an all-wheel drive. You can get a rear-wheel drive turbo straight six SUV from Mazda.
Yeah.
Mazda driving dynamics, Mazda build quality. What an outstanding opportunity.
And a crisp, clean exterior.
Yeah. Exterior looks okay. I'm not.
You don't like the
love,
exterior?
I'm not in love with it.
Okay.
It's a little bit. I think they went a little safe. Is really the problem,
I can see that.
biggest problem I have
Well,
with it. So I mean, they obviously know it's one of their bread and butter cars.
Yeah.
They don't want to stray too far
Right.
and make it something that really is their next evolution of design language. But they went a little bit restrained.
They want to appeal to the masses.
Right. And you kind of understand that.
Yeah.
I mean, wonderful materials inside. Still the 7-passenger seating.
Yep.
Everything that you come to love from the previous CX-9. It's just everything about it is elevated.
Yeah.
And it's still reasonably priced.
It really is for what you get. I mean, it should be on more people's shopping lists,
really
honestly.
And
Yeah.
I've only seen maybe a couple on the road, which is a little bit surprising
It is.
since it's been out for almost the entirety of 2023.
Yeah.
But
Well, staying with Mazda for another pick for their nice list. I gotta give props to Mazda for being one of the only companies who still is producing a two-door light roadster. Miata's always the answer.
Yes.
Miata's always the answer. And for sticking to their roots, this is something I really enjoy. That Mazda has come out with this segment, way back in the late '80s, and now is sticking with it and is still going forward with it. We saw a light update to the Mazda Miata this year, the MX-5, excuse me, this year, and we know that eventually they're going to be going electric too, sadly, but they're sticking to their roots, and it's something that other companies are trying and trying to team up to do it for, and Mazda's just doing it on their own. Even letting Fiat borrow it a little bit, but
Mazda's always done it better, and that's been one of the interesting things. There have always been challengers.
Yeah,
the Kappa twins from
Right.
General Motors.
right.
You had the Crossfire
Yeah.
convertible. Wasn't that great, but yeah, lots of challenges
Imitation,
along the way,
right?
and no one has ever been successful about it
Yeah.
the way Mazda has. So they're doing grassroots racing. They've have lots of fan clubs and things of that nature as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, it just hits on all these different levels to different pieces of that audience that love the roadster experience. And as a two-time Mazda Miata owner,
There you go.
I could not agree more. So well chosen.
I thought you might have picked it, so I held back. All right.
All right, so we want to head to the naughty
I
side.
guess we're gonna have to.
Yes, all right, the naughty side of our Japanese manufacturer. So we've been nice to Mazda. It's time to be a little bit mean.
Uh-oh.
And I've chosen another Mazda with MX in the name.
Oh.
The
I think
MX-30.
30.
So
Mhm.
Mazda tried to make a little foray into the whole EV segment, and they did it very poorly.
Yeah.
So the Mazda MX-30 is a little EV SUV. It's not that big, so it doesn't offer a lot of utility.
Nope.
It doesn't offer much range either. It's about 100 miles of range.
Yeah.
I think 105
Yeah.
miles of range,
Just over.
which is just
Yeah.
not what anybody's going to
No,
need. Like I think that's
no.
even worse than a Leaf.
Yeah.
Yeah, it costs more than a
And
Leaf.
that's old technology.
Yeah, it's just very, very old technology. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And it makes so little sense that Mazda is actually killing it after 2023.
Yeah, didn't sell many of them.
No.
Didn't sell many of them at all. It's a shame because, I mean, there were some interesting features about it, like that cork trim interior, kind of playing back to Mazda's roots, but that fun part of it just didn't really carry over to the driving experience and the usability of it, like you mentioned. I mean, it's just not a good choice in that segment, and people spoke to that. So, yeah, that's a great call out, unfortunately. So,
right, so
coal in your stocking for that one.
Who else is getting a lump of coal?
All right, well, I'm staying not with Mazda, actually, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, Mazda's taking a big sigh of relief right
Yeah,
now.
all right. We're straying away from them and going over to Infinity.
Oh.
Yeah, so dear friends at Infinity have been kind of just like lost, I think, for the last decade or so. And one of those has just not been given much love, and that's the QX80. It was pretty hideous when it came out, has not gotten any better. Has pretty solid roots in that patrol SUV.
I mean, it's got extremely solid off-road chops, but, kind of like we talked about the 300 last week, it's so dated.
Yeah.
It's so dated.
Yeah. I mean, it's a shame because, like, that could be really a big moneymaker for Infinity. Americans love their full-size luxury SUVs.
Yeah. Body on frame. I mean, look at what Lexus is doing with the new GX.
Yeah.
Infinity needs to do the same thing, take a page.
So, yeah, I really like to see some more effort coming from Infinity on that QX80, and we'll see what happens because they're due for an update now. But that is seriously long in the tooth.
It
So,
really is. Yeah, agreed. Well, picking on Nissan a little bit more, I'm going to go. My next choice that's going to get a lump of coal is the Nissan Maxima. So,
four-door sports car.
that was one of my chief complaints. Is they they brought back the four-door sports car moniker for it, right? And, you know, it was on some of the original, the earlier ones, I think the second or third generation Maxima, when it kind of actually held up to the four-door sports car a little bit. You know, it was quick, nimble, it didn't weigh much. All of that's out the window now.
Yeah.
All of it's gone. So they've got a car, and I looked this up. The brand new one with the CVT and its 300 horsepower VQ is only a tenth of a second quicker than the 2002 Maxima.
Oh my goodness!
Which had a 5-speed auto.
Yeah,
and you can still. That's the first year of the VQ.
That was attractive.
Yeah, that was really attractive. So 20 years ago, you get a Maxima with the same performance that looks better than the one you can buy brand new.
Wow, what a shame! Yeah. I mean, they've really let that go.
Yeah, I know. It's just. I mean, it's really, really sad because the Maxima was always a car that I kind of liked.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, those earlier generations just looked so good and were sporty. Yeah. It was something that you were like, hey, I can see myself driving this, but the new Maxima, no.
It was a solid alternative to the Ultima if you wanted to step up a little bit, but now they're so close also in their segments. I just don't see how that's really working out at all.
Exactly. It's just it's a premium Ultima.
Yeah.
What's the point?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No one's looking for that. No. All right, so still from Land of Rising Sun, we got our dear friends Mitsubishi.
Oh.
And here I'm just going to call out the entire brand, folks, because there's not much to it left.
No, there's what do they still make?
Yeah, it's the Eclipse Cross.
Oh.
And I mean, we had the Mirage, and that's dying. They're killing that off.
Really?
Yeah, they're killing that one off.
Because that's like one of the prototypical small cars.
Exactly. So, you know, one of our cheapest offerings here in the United States is going to be going away. So we're left with a crossover SUV that's named after a sports car. It's just a shame what Mitsubishi has become, honestly. I mean, over a decade ago, I'll admit, we had the Evo, right?
We had the Evo.
I mean,
we had an Eclipse.
Yeah, what a fantastic Evo that was.
Wasn't that great back then, but
that's fair.
If you go back another generation, the Eclipse was really, really good.
Yeah, but they were a really interesting brand. They were trying new things. Again, kind of sticking their neck out on the line with some new technologies. Well, now we have a plug-in hybrid SUV. I mean,
it's such a shame. From the company that brought you the Galant VR4, the 3000 GT, the Eclipse GSX, the Evo. Now you have the Eclipse Cross SUV.
It's just really sad, and I'm not sure that things are really going to get better for them because people forget about Mitsubishi at this point. Yes, myself included. So until we're coming up with this list, I'm like, what's bad from Japan nowadays? I mean, there's not much.
And then makes a lot of really great cars.
There's Mitsubishi.
Yeah, there's Mitsubishi kind of sitting out there.
It's a shame. I'm not sure what we're going to see from them in the future at this point.
I feel bad giving them a lump of coal because it's like hitting a child with a stick while they're down. But unfortunately, they are still an auto manufacturer, and they need to do a little bit better. So we'll keep an eye on you, Mitsubishi. We're rooting for you. We're absolutely rooting for you.
We would love to see something fresh.
Yeah, we need something fresh. Yeah. All right, now we need to move on to Korea, and we're going to go ahead and start with our nice list. So, Jordan, why don't you kick us off?
Yeah, so my nice list starts off with the Hyundai Ioniq 5N, which is coming to the United States. Now, EVs, it's kind of hit and miss. But this one is just bonkers, what they're doing with it. An incredible amount of horsepower coming out of this vehicle, which, I mean, it's expected with EVs. I mean, they're heavy.
This is what they do. They're heavy. They need to make it up with horsepower, and they do it extremely well. And they've got, zero torque. So, I mean, torque from 0 RPMs rather than lots of torque.
Yeah. So, I mean, what we're seeing with the N line here is a lot of focus, obviously, on driver engagement. And it's not necessarily just about hitting that perfect apex, but it's about having fun on the track, too. And this one does like insane drifts around corners.
In a drift mode. Yep.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
A little bit tough to use. I did watch a Top Gear review on this, and
you got to hit just right.
Times. Yeah,
but that's fun. Right. That's the fun of it.
It's just like anything else, right? Like, I mean, you just have to understand the quirks and features of your car, and try to understand how to best use its power and different features that it offers. But I love this choice. I really do, because the Ioniq 5 by itself, really great EV. And then giving it the entry mitt is just going to elevate it to a new level. And this is what EV manufacturers need to do. They need to make cars that are driver focused. They need to do it because they all have one calling card. Every EV has it.
Horsepower.
Acceleration.
Yeah.
They can accelerate fast in a straight line. I mean, we had that BMW event where we drove the i50 or whatever M. I-450.
I-450, yeah.
And the thing was bonkers. in a
BMW
straight
alphabet
line.
soup.
Yeah, it was bonkers in a straight line, and we had a lot of fun doing that 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, and that got old.
And then after that, it was kind of like, okay,
what's next?
what's next? There's nothing. There's nothing else, and it's a soulless appliance.
Yeah.
And so I think, Hyundai bringing this to an N-line vehicle is just going to take it to that next level, and they're really working hard at trying to bring some of that engagement in. The sounds are a little bit weird.
Yeah, a little bit.
But, at least they're trying. So I have to give them a lot of kudos for that.
Absolutely. We see you. We see you.
Good choice. Good choice.
Yeah.
So next on my list that's going to get a present is Kia.
Ah.
And it is going to be the Kia Stinger.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Okay.
So the Stinger is something that I'm glad they're still making, but at this point, it's also a little sad because this is the last year for the Stinger. So Stinger is going into retirement, but I wanted to give Kia kudos for bringing that along, making a nice high horsepower alternative to something like an Audi S5.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really just a great competitor for that. It offered at a much lower price, with the traditional Kia warranty. So I mean, it's just a great car. I hated that it's going away, but understand that they have to start considering the economics of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Stinger is a good choice for a car that deserves some praise because and it brought Kia to a place where it wasn't before, right? I mean, Kia was econoboxes beforehand. The Stinger was really one of Kia's first forays into that performance kind of mindset, and we're seeing more and more kind of fun cars coming out of Kia and Hyundai as well. Obviously, as we just mentioned, it was something different, and we love to see automakers kind of risk that.
Yeah, the styling was cool. It was the hatchback four-door design. I mean, it took
you got the best of both worlds. Yeah. You got that hatchback versatility and styling.
Drive. I mean, it was just a really cool car.
Yeah, absolutely.
So consider putting one in the garage at the point, but ended up going with something else. But it wasn't just for the fact that it wasn't a great car.
Yeah, good choice. Yeah, so sticking with the Hyundai Kia brands.
That's about all
we got. Yeah. Another, I think, really great call out would just be the Genesis line in general. I think that they have really done a great job of looking at what other brands have done when they start off the luxury brands, like Lexus, for instance, and accelerating that even faster. The first Genesis brand, they were a little funky, like the coupe and the sedan that were under the Hyundai brand at first.
Yeah, they were under the Hyundai brand, so they didn't quite have the luxury trappings that you would expect, but now they've elevated that, and I'd honestly place them ahead of Infiniti at this point. Yeah, I mean,
they have really standout interior design. Although I will say, I might be in the minority for this one, but the refreshed GVs, I feel like they've lost a little bit of their soul on the interior. I know that the quirky, weird oval steering wheel was something to get used to. Yeah. I know. But I just found it really interesting. I know.
But all the quilted leather you could ever ask for.
Exactly. Yes. Quilted means luxury, right? Yes. We know that. But, I mean, they are putting stuff out at a price also that's pretty reasonable for what you're getting. Incredible technologies like the UV cleaning of your phone. I mean, no one's doing that. Like, who's thinking about that stuff? And I mean, you're also getting some fun performance out of them too. Are we talking like the BMW level performance? Not yet. No, but no one's asking for that just quite yet, right? They're bringing their brand.
3.3 liter twin turbo. Yeah. I mean, it's going to zip you right along. Yeah. It's in almost every Genesis vehicle. And I have to say, I'm just going to call out this one in particular. Yeah. I love the GV70. Yeah. The way the back end slopes a little bit, it reminds me so much of a 928.
Yes, that is true. I know.
It's such a cool design.
Yes.
And it's unique in its segment.
Yeah.
And I really just love it. I have to call it out.
Absolutely.
So good choice. Yeah. Good choice. All right.
Now, it's time for the naughty list.
Time for the naughty list from our Korean brands. And I'll go ahead and kick us off.
Okay.
Because this is probably going to be pretty short. But the Korean brands make so many great cars. It's really, really hard for us to find something that's naughty. Yeah. So we're going to have to nitpick a little bit here.
Yep.
And so I'm going to nitpick really hard on the Elantra's design. So the 2023 Elantra is the last year they're kind of using this design. They've improved it for 2024. So thank you, Hyundai. But for the current version, it really doesn't look that good. It's a bunch of mismatched lines and jagged shapes. And
super busy.
Yeah, just very, very busy and doesn't really look that great.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a great call out. I mean, we know what they're capable of, and thankfully they're making a move to that decision. But yeah, there's just some odd choices on that vehicle, for sure. All right, well, my first naughty list is going to be interesting because it's on Greg's good list, but for a slightly different reason, and that's the Stinger. So like you said, the Stinger is a great choice for something that, really brought Kia to a place where it wasn't before. And I just found it so interesting. And it was on one of my lists, too, to cross-shop in vehicles. But I just wish they would have stuck with it. I think that bringing the Stinger into the EV world could have offered it some more opportunities in terms of versatility and driving fun. I can just only imagine what like a Stinger and type situation would be.
It would have been very, very cool. I mean, it's a car that deserved a second generation.
It did, yeah. We let the Stinger just kind of die out there, and I just really hate that for him because it's such a unique vehicle.
Yeah, it died on the vine, which is just so sad to see for something that was so unique and just kind of stood alone in the brand.
Such a shame.
It is a shame.
Yeah, and speaking of disappointments, I'm going to go stick with Kia, unfortunately. Hate to beat up on Kia, because like you said, it was really hard to find ones like on my naughty list. But, again, nitpicking here, but Kia Soul. Now, I'm not going to pick on the Kia Soul for what most people think about. Oh, it looks like a lunchbox, a hamster mobile. I mean, it's a unique vehicle in its segment. I mean, it's got a lot of space. They seem to be relatively reliable for what you're finding. And I mean, economical. But I think when the Soul first came out, it was a really standout in terms of design. And every iteration since then has gotten more like blobular and sad looking.
Yes.
And I just that's not helping it at all. I think the first one was pretty sharp. And now we've gotten worse and worse and worse.
Right. And something in the segment kind of needs to be a happy car.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't really need to anthropomorphize, right? Is that the right word?
Right.
Cars.
Fancy.
It's hard for us not to, just as human beings, right?
Yeah.
We see a car's nose, we see a face.
Exactly.
And
I mean, this one's
without
sad.
Without a doubt, the Kia Soul's face has gone frumpy. It's gone sad. It's like, please kill me.
Yeah.
I hate to exist. But it should be like a fun little runaround car.
Exactly.
That's what it used to be.
Yeah.
They did such a good job of pulling that forward with their design previously, and it's just gone completely out the window.
Yeah, no one needs a sad and yet aggressive Kia Soul. No. I mean, that's not what we need.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But I'm curious what they're going to end up doing. I doubt they're going to kill it off. It's a pretty popular car, so hopefully they just add some spice to it.
Agreed. Well, my last choice is the Sorento plug-in hybrid. Yes, it's very boring. Part of the reason it's on the list, but a lot of folks probably aren't very familiar with this. So what that actually gets you is a plug-in hybrid with a 1.6 liter engine.
Fun.
Yeah. Combined, I think it's about 260 horsepower, which is not that bad.
No, not bad. Yeah.
But you don't get much range. Range is very, very minimal.
Yeah.
And you're paying $50,000 for the pleasure of having it, which is a lot of money for a Sorento.
Yeah.
I will say that gives you the SX trim, which is one of the higher trim levels within the Sorento range, but $50,000 for a Sorento just doesn't really compute, and it's just not a great place you want to be. There's a lot of better options in the gas segment if you want a Sorento.
Right.
Obviously, a little bit worse fuel economy, but
you're not getting much better fuel economy anyway. I mean, what's how much more are you possibly getting?
Yeah, you're not getting much. So the price premium could buy you a lot of gas.
Exactly.
So that's the kind of unique situation you find yourself in with some of these early plug-in hybrids. So it just really doesn't present a lot of value for you. So for that reason, I'm going to give them a lump of coal. Yeah,
technology has moved on. I mean, I think you can do better than that for sure. So yeah, lump of coal coming your way for that one.
Coming your way, yep, exactly. So, well, appreciate you guys tuning in for us. This is our last Naughty and Nice episode for the year.
Yeah.
But next week, to ring in the new year, we're going to come forward with some manufacturer resolutions. These are resolutions we like to see that they probably won't.
Yeah, we'll see what we come up with.
Yeah, see what we come up with next week. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you then.
Yeah.